humility and appreciation, and with a great sense that they belong to my ancestors, especially the women in my family. So, thank you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. This has been a very interesting week. Here to help us make sense of it all is the one and only Alice Toriente. Good morning. You got to cut your TV down, Auntie.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning to all.
I won't complain. How are you? All is well with you?
I've seen better days.
What do you mean?
Better days politically. I'm fine, personally. But just watching the scenario of all this going on with the politics now and holding my breath and waiting to see what else crazy is going to happen.
Well, Auntie, I need to thank you publicly for keeping me politically astute. I mean, my God, you've been the best assistant a journalist could ask for.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
So what's the latest?
Well, the latest is the fact that African-American students and other folks have been receiving text messages telling them that they've been assigned to pick cotton on the plantation.
Oh, my God. Really?
For real. And the FBI is supposed to be investigating. I spoke with someone who told me that their niece got a copy of it. They have not sent it to me yet. But anyway, somebody here in Maryland got a copy that I know of, so I'm waiting to get a copy of that.
You see?
And then I spoke with someone else who I believe lives in Anne Arundel County, who said the people are riding through the neighborhood with guns and with Trump guns and flags and acting nasty in the stores. Haven't had a chance to talk to her yet, but I will be speaking with her later today. So this is perhaps just the beginning of some of the craziness that these folks are expressing because their candidate won.
Well, they were going to express it either way.
More than likely, but now that perhaps they will not. They won't be going over attacking the Capitol at this point in time. So I'm looking and waiting to see what appointments he's going to make. I understand they're looking at what's the guy, the Cuban guy from Florida, the young guy,
Rubio.
Beg your pardon.
Rubio.
They're looking at him perhaps for something, an international position. Secretary of State, I believe it is.
You know, an elder told me last night that God is still in charge.
Right.
He said that we have to pray for Donald Trump. And I said, pray for Donald Trump. And he said, yeah, we got to pray for him. I said, why? He said, because if you look at his history, at his biography, his father told him he was a loser and gave him $43 million that he squandered. And he has been trying to prove ever since that he's not a loser. I mean, he gave me some deep psychological angle, but he also said that sometimes God has to allow the worst to happen for us to recognize who is in charge.
Well, that is very true. Lots of people have been saying that to me as well this morning. I'm just exasperated. I'm sure that what they're saying is true. God is definitely in charge. But I've just been exasperated by what I saw, what I've seen thus far. But the one bright spot is that Alzabrook did win.
That is a bright spot.
Right, that is a bright spot. And that our former governor did make a very informed and decent response to her winning. And so that is a bit of a bright spot as well. He sounded like Biden being conciliatory to the person who won. So those things are blessings.
So in some regard, Wes Moore is the beneficiary of Kamala's loss, in that he can run for president in 2 years, although nobody's really saying that. But isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I said that some while ago, but I expected Kamala was going to win. It would be 8 years. So we shall see what the story is and how cards are played here. He's a rising star in the Democratic Party, no question about that. And so there is a chance that if Trump lasts that long, because I'm trying to think of that amendment. If Trump goes real crazy, they can. What is that? The 25th Amendment. If Trump goes real crazy, and they could take him out, and then J.D. Vance could take Trump's place. So who knows? All things are possible. But,
hell, J.D. Vance scared me more than Trump.
Yeah, I tell you, he does. They have a thing against J.D. Vance because his wife is not a Christian. She's a Hindu. And they've been talking about that. The fact some of the folks that are close to in the Trump area have been talking about the fact that the wife is a Hindu. So who knows? I mean, it's all up in the air, but West does stand, and he is a rising star in the Democratic Party.
So I gotta ask a question. When O'Malley was mayor, he wanted to be governor.
Yes.
When he was governor, he wanted to be president.
Yes.
Does Wes Moore have to be careful not to fall into the O'Malley syndrome, whereby, unlike a William Donald Schaefer, who you could tell was rooted here in Baltimore, here in Maryland, must he be careful not to fall into that looking down the road too soon syndrome?
Oh, absolutely. And Wes is a very savvy person. And so I think he knows exactly, and has some good advisors. So I'm sure he knows what the story is and what he needs to do.
So one of the things the elder said is that God is still in charge, and sometimes he allows things like this to happen. And I'm getting to what we do as a people. I've gotten so many calls on what we should do. Some people say, here's a comment. Here's one comment. Trump will never leave office this time. And I tell you something else that's already come out about the Project 2025. Of course, we talked about it multiple times on this show. One of the things they talked about was gutting the Department of Education, gutting the Department of Health and Human Services, whereby a lot of federal agencies may come under the umbrella of be gone, getting rid of them. Ding, ding, bye-bye.
Absolutely. And also putting Robert Kennedy in charge of health services.
Now, you were telling me about that. So the Kennedy guy, he was an independent, unlike his family.
Right, absolutely. And his family did not support his efforts to run for president.
Why not?
Because he was opposed to everything that they stood for. And they, as a group, came out and denounced the fact that he was running and were not supportive of his candidacy. And very interestingly, when I looked at his mother's funeral, he had no part in the funeral.
Of his own mother.
That's correct. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, now former Lieutenant Governor, spoke. Even Stevie Wonder even sang. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke. There were a number of other people who spoke. The grandchildren, she had 11 children and 23 grandchildren. And many of them had parts of the funeral program, but he was nowhere seen or mentioned.
What do we make of this? I mean, does democratic politics work for us?
It had been thus far, and it really looked like it was going to work for us this last time. Girlfriend had the cast, the credentials, the support, and everything. And it's just very surprising how this thing turned out. It took me, I was up all night the night of the election, following this, taking notes, seeing what the story was. And I was taken aback when the election returns started coming in, because I was just in disbelief of what had happened.
The numbers were not looking pretty, and I tell you, we all need therapy after that trauma.
Tell me about
I was hoping that number jumped the Electoral College.
electoral votes, yeah.
I was hoping it went up like and then it was like, no.
There was no way after a certain period of time, although there were some states that came in late, but there was just no possible way that she was going to be able to get to 270. I was really heartened by her speech, and the fact that she, was resolved in the fact that she did not win. Doesn't mean it's too late for her either. And so, that she can't try again either. So we'll just have to see how things play out.
I don't think she will try again.
You don't think so? I have no idea.
Who knows what the future will bring? But did she lack a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain it factor, a certain pop?
Je ne sais quoi was not missing. The lady was authentic. She was smart. She was prepared. They had no other candidate has ever raised $1 billion. She had all the heavy hitters in the Democratic Party, and I just don't know.
Well, you do know this country has never elected a woman president.
Well, that's true, and certainly not a Black Asian woman. And so we'll see. We'll just have to see. I'm still digesting the results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all are, Auntie. We all are. So here in the state of Maryland, here's a question for you. Is the Republican Party done for now?
No, I don't think so, because they weren't really, Hogan and his folks were not as outrageous as the other folks. And so I guess they can still go, still act, participate, do whatever. However, even though he did not win, he made sense of the fact that he did not win and the way that they, acted. But I was so happy to see that Camilla got Maryland's 10 electoral votes and what have you.
A lot of people don't understand that Electoral College. That's something you can actually put your name on a ballot to be a representative for the Electoral College.
No, that doesn't work that way. Not in Maryland. I was fortunate enough during Elijah Cummings' time to witness what happened when the states vote, when Maryland voted to get their information ready for Electoral College. What happened here was that each of the congresspersons selected a person to be their representative to the Electoral College. And Helen Dale was the person that Elijah had elected from the 7th Congressional District. The other candidates, other congressional folks in Maryland selected their people, and they all came together in Annapolis and they signed off on the votes that were received in each of the congressional districts. And then after they signed that off, that went to Washington. And of course, at the time, O'Malley was the governor, and they had a party at the governor's mansion after they had finished their work. So I actually saw that take place. And that was what happened in Maryland. I don't know how it goes in all the other states, but I can speak on what I saw in Maryland.
So Trump won. He took both the popular vote and the electoral college.
Right. But folks have been arguing the fact that the electoral college has outlived its usefulness.
Well, was it ever useful for us? I mean, my understanding is it came about because of slavery.
I can't speak on that because I really don't know. But I know we consider 3/5 of a person based on the decisions that were made. But I can't speak on the origin of it. I really don't know.
Yeah, we were 3/5, and had we been counted as a whole, we would have been swaying elections all along. I mean, that was the point of bringing it in from the first place, because our numbers were that strong even during the days of American slavery, where
we could not
vote. We couldn't, but as we got that right to vote, they could count.
Well, the thing that I'm looking at this point in time, each state is allocated a certain number of electoral votes in the electoral college. However, and I think that's based on population. However, the electoral college numbers have never changed when the population increases or decreases. So I found that interesting. Now, when Hillary Clinton won, she got the highest number of votes, but she did not get the 270 electoral college votes.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't even close.
Also, because people have gotten the popular vote but didn't get enough votes in electoral college, so the person who got the most electoral college votes was the winner.
Yeah, she wasn't even close.
A lot of discussion regarding whether or not the electoral college still serves a useful purpose.
It's a game, because then the question becomes: are we really a democracy? I mean, we're a republic. A democracy would be majority vote rules.
Right, it should be, but it's not at this point in time. Although Trump proved it this time because he got the most votes. He also got the majority of votes, and he got over 270. And so that was what the story was.
Have you ever seen anything like this before? You've seen a few elections in the past.
I'm an old lady. I've seen a lot, but I've never seen anything like this.
How does it make you feel?
Not good. I'm hurt.
You've traveled all over the world. Does it make you want to move like to Ghana?
No, my roots are here. My family's here. And I love Ghana, and I love Brazil, and all the other places that I've traveled to. But America is home, and we have to stay and fight for what's ours. So
one young man called me up and said, "Donnie, are you a patriot?"
Oh my.
Yeah, I was on the same tip. Like, why would you ask me that? He said, "If you're a patriot, then stand on the mountain and tell the world, I am a patriot." And I said, "Why?" And he was essentially pointing out what Elon Musk did. Did you see his spaceship demonstration?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of that?
Not much. We're talking about how the billionaires got richer. He, Bezos, and somebody else became richer as a result of Trump being elected. There was a third person whom I wasn't familiar with, but they were saying how they got richer because Trump got elected. But my concern is that all of those cases that were proposed against Trump, filed against Trump, have gone away.
Yeah.
Because of his being elected, and that was what I think a whole lot of this stuff was about.
Privilege, white privilege.
Well, I don't
Not being held accountable. That's a narcissist. You want the privileges of a king, but you have the accountability of a 2-year-old.
Well, that's what he goes to. Now, I believe he's going to have to pay the money to the lady who they found, because when they found the 34 charges against, but he supposedly raped.
A rapist.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to pay that money. And of course, Brother Giuliani's got to give up all his stuff. And they have given him a time, I think in the next week or so, he's got to give up the things to those ladies that he lied on who were the election officials down in Georgia. And another bright spot is that Fannie Willis got reelected in Georgia.
Go Fannie. They tried to rake Fannie over the coals.
They absolutely did. But anyway, she was reelected to her position as a district attorney. But that case is probably going to disappear as well.
Yeah. Richard Pryor said, when you go to the justice system, it's just us.
I've heard that before. Absolutely.
How do you stay optimistic in a time like these? There are a lot of people out here seeking therapy. Who knows? Some people may have fallen into the drink. Some people may have chosen other options, or then there are people who've just gone bike riding and weightlifting and gone back to the gym. And then there are others who are talking about, strengthening their organization, strengthening their business groups. A lot of people are talking about the stock market.
Well, the stock market went up after he got elected, and they what was the other thing? The real estate. What is it? Not the other thing. The points went down on the mortgages also. I can't recall what that was actually called, but if you had a mortgage, that went down as well because he got elected. It was word that he may keep the person who's in charge of the finances in place until his term runs out. So all of that we have yet to see.
What does it mean for Black women? I've seen this comment made in social media posts that Black women are no longer. Don't add the Black lady. It wrote, "Don't ask us to show up for anything else. Don't ask us to show up for any specific community. You didn't show up for us." And they started naming names.
Well, I've not seen that. I don't think that's true because we have been so strong all along, and we've got to continue to show our strength. I don't concur with that, but that's my personal feeling. Other people have theirs.
The post suggested that Black women have shown up for every other group, and this time they did not show up for Black women. So the post was saying, "Don't ask me for nothing."
Just let me say this to you, what I found very interesting. In the states where they had abortion rights on the ballot, those people voted for the abolition of those abortion rights. However, they supposedly voted for Trump. Now that was real interesting.
Voting against one's own interests.
Well, that's true. But that was a split vote. So that was kind of interesting. And when you look at the Hispanic men.
Oh my God. Was this a machismo thing?
Yes, very much machismo. Because listen, they got to remember. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what I started.
Be nice.
No, I am. I'm not going to say what I started to say. But they had a mother who raised them. I'm not going to go into what I started to say. They had a mother who got them where they are. And I don't know why it's so unbelievable to them that an African-American mixed woman could be in charge of the government.
So here's a comment that was made on one of the shows that we've had since the election. I think Andy Pierre said it. He mentioned how now we are English-speaking Black people. When you look at American baseball, so many of the Black players today are Latino. but he was pointing to the Latino community, and I only give that as a backdrop to us understanding that the Latino population has a number of opinions, they're not monolithic.
True.
So Puerto Ricans don't necessarily identify with Mexicans, don't necessarily identify with those from Honduras and Venezuela and El Salvador.
Right. Well, and Cubans don't identify with Puerto Ricans.
And so that, because a lot of times, and I found it interesting, and this is why. If I've heard it once, I've heard it too many times. Black people are not monolithic. Yeah, we are. When it comes to racism, we're damn sure monolithic. When Popo pull you over and you hear that whoop, 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 we all monolithic because we all have the same pain that shoots through our gut like, oh no.
True.
Don't want to go to Central Booking tonight.
Or be shot to death.
Or be shot to death. But in the Latino community, we see they have similar issues. And not only then, it can't be monolithic. There's no way you can grow up in El Salvador and have the same sentiments and feelings and perspective as somebody growing up in Puerto Rico. What they have in common is the language.
Very much so.
But they have you got people in the same place who don't feel the same way. So the Latino men, they overwhelmingly came out for Trump. And then white women, of all of the people, they have voted against their own interests. So they don't mind a rapist with 34 convictions and a traitor telling them what to do with their bodies. That's obvious.
Well, let me just say this. There may have been some leading Latino men who voted for Trump prior to the situation where the comedian at the Madison Square Garden made the comment regarding Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, he called it an island of trash in the ocean.
Right. So there may be others who voted after that. We don't know.
He also talked about black people and him cutting up watermelons.
Yes.
Directing it to a black man in the crowd who had a hat that looked like a lampshade. I wanted to punch him in his mouth. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to punch him in his mouth.
It has been so much racist talk.
I wanted to shove a watermelon down his throat.
I tell you, it's just been so awful. And that's one of the reasons why.
So disrespectful.
Yeah, I just find it so difficult. I think 12% of African Americans voted for Trump. And I think that
75% of the black men, kudos to you for not watching that dumb stuff. But apparently 25% did not vote of black men did not vote. And some of the egregious things I heard and saw by black men was disturbing. They called that lady a garden tool.
Oh, please. Tremaine Lee. Oh, yeah.
They called her a garden tool, but you got Melania Trump. I mean,
Tremaine Lee and someone else had a conversation with some black men as to where their heads were as far as voting was concerned.
Up their hind parts.
And it was really interesting some of the rationales that they gave up, how they were going to vote. I got a video of this this is an older black man, but they said he was a Trump supporter, and they asked him, name me what he had done to help black people, and the man couldn't say a thing. He was tongue-tied.
They can't name one thing Trump did. If they're talking about a stimulus check, I mean, my God, really?
He put his name on it. The check didn't come from him. He put his name on the stimulus check, and they thought it came from him. So it's just so but there's so many low information voters. People don't pay attention. Many of them, like you and I, who pay attention from Jump Street, and other people don't pay attention till it's time to vote. And so they don't have the information. They don't care to have the information, and I don't know how they make their decisions. But that is what the story is.
We got to keep the faith. We can't lose faith. What else have you been following? What else has been on the news? Any other disturbance? You said they sending out notices for people to show up on the plantation.
Yes, and a lot of people have gotten those. Got a lot of young people, college students.
Don't let your president get your hind parts whipped.
But anyway, they tried, the FBI is investigating. I was, of course, looking at my old city, looking at New York to try to see, where the votes came from in New York for, Trump and Camilla. And that's basically it. My whole attention right now has been on the aftermath of the election. And we're going to just watch and see who's going to be in this transition. What he's got, this deportation that they're talking about, they said that's going to be a costly process. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with that. And we're waiting to see who will be named in his administration and see how they're proposing to carry out the proposals in 2025. So that's what's going on there. But I'm just happy about, as I said, happy about our girl Osabrook. There was a lady in, I believe, Delaware who was running. So I think we got 3 new black women elected to the Senate.
Yeah, there were black women. I saw one black woman, I want to say Michigan, who got elected to the Supreme Court.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also waiting to see what's going to happen with Congress, and see who's good. If boy Hakeem Jeffries rather is going to become Speaker. And so there's still some unsettled races, along those lines. So we'll see what the story is with that. So just
what do you think about racism? Is it just fear of retribution and a mindset of scarcity? Like there's not enough resources for everyone? Like Elon Musk running to the moon?
It could be. It's just some deep-seated feelings that people have, that one group may get ahead of them. Even the group that may be getting ahead of them has undergone some horrible consequences in their lives up to this point. It could be.
You can't stop the future. The browning of America is real. And I think with all of this Trump stuff, it'll be before 20 years from now where black and brown will be the majority in this country.
That's one of the major concerns.
They be concerned. Make all the black babies you can, people.
I tell you, and raise them well.
And raise them well, absolutely. Can't just be making babies. Some people think you can just make the babies. No, you got to raise the babies. And if you can't raise the baby, don't make the baby.
You have to educate them, and so that some of the mistakes that may have been made in the past are not made in the future.
Yeah, like this prison industrial. I've never really asked you about that. What do you think about that? America has 5% of the world population, but we have 25% of the incarcerated persons. America is the most incarcerating nation on earth. It's addicted to incarceration.
I had just seen something about the prison in Louisiana, which is supposed to be among the worst.
Angola
prison. I'm trying to remember what there was a documentary about Angola. And also, what's the writer's name that I love so much? He's written this book called Framed. There's a new book called Framed. Oh, what's his name? He writes, the Southern writer. Oh my gosh, I'm having to see him over now. But he has written this, but he writes fiction. But he now has written, this is a true story that he has written regarding the number of people who have been framed. And he talks about, these are actual stories about how the police have framed these folks and, all the stuff that's going, just terrible.
Jim McCloskey.
No, it's not McCloskey.
John Grisham.
John Grisham has written a new book called Framed. And it's supposed to be a book of true stories. And so I'm going to get my hands on that. And if you've got a couple other books I'm trying to get through. But anyway, I want to get the John Grisham book because I want to get Cass. That book called Cass, that's supposed to be quite good as well. But I don't have John Grisham's book, but that's relatively new. I want to get my hands on that and take a look at that and see what's going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
But true stories. And this is, I think, the second nonfiction book that he has written.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Auntie, I don't know how you keep up with all of this. What else you been up to?
Not too much. Not to just watching my health and being thankful and blessed that I'm here.
One comment from a viewer says, white females, I'm pretty sure this is Michael Randolph. He says that civil rights will take a downfall. He also said that white females will be paid to have babies to keep the white in the majority. Mike, the Latinos have blasted past black people, and they will soon be blasting past the majority white population. Nobody is reproducing at that rate based on the stats. So they can pay them all they want. And then, you know, it just sounds so animalistic. You're going to pay somebody to have a baby. Although other countries have been recruiting black men, Japan, Poland, paying black men to move there, to make babies. Yes.
Oh, please, listen. Why do you think there's a big fight about the abortion? Now, think about why all this is about the abortion thing.
Yeah, they want white women to have more babies.
Why? That's my thought.
That's basic math. It's fear. It's life of fear. All these, like, listen, a lot of these white women love black men. I don't know what they talk about. There's more mixed babies than ever before.
I don't know. There are a lot of more mixture of folks getting married and what have you. But they grew up in a different time. These young folks, so they didn't experience segregation and all the other crazy stuff that went along. So I guess they're taking people at their how they meet them, how they see them, whatever.
I pray Donald Trump has a bunch of mixed grandbabies.
I just found out that Tiffany, Trump's father-in-law, is, what is he? He's Middle Eastern. I'm trying to remember what he is. But his father and her father-in-law is Lebanese. The guy that she's married, father's Lebanese. I don't know whether he's mixed or not, but I just heard that the other day.
You know, the good books say that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Black people got to get our stuff together. Number one, we control $1.6 trillion in annual disposable income. We are able to put any company in business or out of business. As Christmas comes around, we better get wiser. I saw one memo said that all cookout invitations are canceled because we need to have a family meeting. Offline, but we need to have a family meeting. And some people need to be cast out of the family.
Well, we'll see what's going on. We need to start right here at home because we need to get our NAACP together here in Baltimore.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
That's one of the things we need to do right here at home.
Ani, we're going to get off the line. We want to thank you for joining us, for keeping us informed and updated. You are the best, and thank you for helping to make sure I'm a better journalist than I was yesterday.
My pleasure. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We want you to like this page. Share this page. YouTube. Got 7,000 videos over there. Share them. They all go on to bemorenews.com. They also go to blackusa.news. 3 books that I don't do a good enough job promoting. Unapologetically Black, they came out in 2015. I Am Black Wall Street, they came out in 2021. And the most recent one, Journalpreneur, pioneering the digital age of Black journalism. Support Black media. Do check out our colleagues. I have an article in the Baltimore Times this week. Without Black media, our voice does not get heard. Despite this era of Trumpism, we support the Black press. Also, A special thank you to Roderica Applewhite. She is the director of Black Media. She sent out a very heartwarming letter, email yesterday, thanking members of the Black press for our support through the past, past 4 years, 8 years. We did not get access to the White House in the Trump era, and we don't expect access, but we will continue to bring you the news, even if I got to stand outside of the White House. But Roderica Applewhite, Erica Lowe, these people gave us access, and we tried to bring as many Black journalists to the White House as possible. Try to pass the ball to the next generation of journalists, and we will continue to do so, regardless of who is in charge. So we thank you for joining us today. We will be back at noon. That's Pharaoh saying hello. Come here, Pharaoh. You want to say hello? No, he's on duty. We have a big event coming up, December the 5th. We put it right down here. The Black Wall Street Soiree. We do these Black Wall Street Awards across the country, up and down the East Coast, I should say. But we've also seen New York, Baltimore, D.C., Richmond, Atlanta, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Tulsa, and Montgomery, Alabama. We should be doing some down south in the coming months. Airline fees are ridiculous. December the 5th is the big one. I'll give you some of the honorees, include Visionary Venture Partners, Alex Aaron, Victor Akinagbe, Donna Venerable Davis, Benjamin Morgan, Tawanda Livingston, Joseph Woodson, Shemaine Pollard, Lindsey Johnson, Marvin Jackson, Ursula Battle. You better be there this time, Ursula. Dapper Luke, Angelo Cooper, April Watts, Patty Smith, Brandon Waddy, Leroy McKenzie, Curtis Warren, Naomi Shea. So do RSVP, get your ticket. We're raising funds as we do once a year, just once a year, to pay for these awards. Black Wall Street soiree.eventbrite.com. Up to date, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. And for the people of faith, do know that God is still in charge. Sometimes you got to put the wrong one in. You did your part if you voted. That didn't work, so we just got to sit back, like the elder said yesterday, and watch God's plan unfold. This is what I know. God don't like ugly and could care less for beauty. Good morning, world.